The world we live in, it's pretty much built on one single powerful idea that we can use reason to solve our problems. But have you ever stopped to wonder where that idea even came from? Well, today we're diving into the intellectual revolution that literally forged the modern mind, the Enlightenment. But let me start with a question for you. How do you fight an idea? Especially an idea that's been the default setting for centuries. The thinkers of the 17th and 18th centuries were staring down exactly this problem. Their solution? To forge a brand new idea, one so powerful it could challenge the entire world order. To really get what a huge deal this was, you gotta picture the world it was born into. We're talking about an era completely dominated by unquestioned faith, by superstition, and by the absolute authority of tradition. Thinking for yourself wasn't just frowned upon, it could be downright dangerous. And this right here, this is the main event. This was the central battle line of the whole era. On one side, you have a world built on superstition and inherited dogma. You believe things simply because that's what you've always been told. But on the other side, a totally radical new approach, using your own human reason and actual observable evidence to figure out the truth for yourself. That was the fundamental conflict. Okay, so you've got this massive intellectual fight on your hands. How do you even begin to win it? Well, they created what you could call a brand new toolkit for the mind. And the goal wasn't just to tear down the old, rickety structures. It was to build a better, more rational, and more humane society from the ground up. And yeah, this intellectual arsenal, this whole toolkit, it's got a name: the Enlightenment, also known as the Age of Reason. Its core belief was as simple as it was revolutionary. Our own intellect is the most powerful tool we have. By using reason and scientific inquiry, we can just understand the world. We could actually make it better. So, what's actually in this toolkit? Let's break it down. First up, you've got rationalism, the sheer power of logical thought. Then its partner in crime, empiricism, which demands you see it to believe it. You need observable proof. Then add in universalism, this wild idea that some truths apply to everyone, everywhere. And finally, a deep, driving need for clarity and order. These weren't just buzzwords, they were the actual blueprints for a new world. Look, having a great set of tools is one thing, but they're useless if they just sit in the box, right? You need a way to get them out into the world. For the thinkers of the Enlightenment, their ultimate vehicle for change, their weapon of choice, was literature. The pen truly became mightier than the sword. And believe me, they knew this was risky business. Voltaire, who was one of the sharpest and wittiest minds of the whole era, he just nails that rebellious spirit with this quote. To stand up and say, hey, I think you're wrong, to the most powerful institutions on earth, that took unbelievable courage. And literature was how they waged that dangerous fight. And this wasn't just random angry writing. Oh no, this was a calculated attack. The satirist, in particular, had a whole playbook. Step 1, pinpoint the absurdity and injustice in society. Step 2, use razor-sharp irony and wit to make your point. Step 3, expose the rot and corruption in the institutions of power. And the final goal? To force people, the readers, to actually stop and think critically about the world they lived in. What this did was completely change the game for what writing was even for. It wasn't just about telling a good story or creating beautiful art anymore. Literature became a tool for public education. It was meant to instruct, to critique, and ultimately to help build a society of citizens who were more rational, more engaged, and more virtuous. So this massive shift didn't just happen on its own. It was driven by a group of absolutely brilliant writers and thinkers, the masterminds who picked up this new toolkit and used it with incredible skill. So who were these literary architects of the modern world? Let's meet just a few of the heavyweights. You've got Voltaire, whose satirical masterpiece Candide just tears apart blind optimism and dogma. There's Jonathan Swift, using the fantastical journey of Gulliver's Travels to expose how ridiculous human behavior can be. You have Alexander Pope, a master of poetry, who could weave deep philosophy into perfectly ordered verses. And of course, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, whose thinking on social contracts and natural rights became the literal blueprint for modern democracy. Each one a master of their craft, pushing this revolution forward. And the crazy part is, these writers weren't just talking to people back then. They were starting a conversation that would echo for centuries. So why should you care about a movement from the 1700s? Well, because those echoes are all around you. These ideas didn't just stay in old books. They jumped off the page and completely reshaped our civilization.
I mean, it is absolutely not an exaggeration to say that these ideas are coded into the very DNA of modern society. The way we think, the way we govern ourselves, the way we search for truth, it all comes back to this intellectual explosion. No, seriously, just think about it for a second. The whole concept of modern democracy, that's them. The idea that we all have universal human rights just by virtue of being human, an Enlightenment principle, the scientific method that we rely on for basically all human progress, forged in the Age of Reason. Freedom of thought, the very foundation of social justice movements, it all traces back to the toolkit we've been talking about.
We're talking about more than 3 centuries. For over 300 years, this intellectual inheritance has been the engine of progress. It's fueled revolutions, it's sparked incredible scientific breakthroughs, and it's driven this constant, messy, difficult pursuit of a more just and rational world. Its impact is just undeniable. So, all this brings us to one last big question. A question for you, really. In our incredibly complex world, with all the unique challenges we're facing right now, which tool from that Enlightenment toolkit do you think we need to sharpen and use most urgently today? Is it rational thought? Is it fearless social critique? Or is it that fundamental belief in universal human rights? Something to think about.